Should I do this? Do it? Yeah. I think so. Maybe I just read this question. I was very lucky. I signed another document that turned out to be very good for the country, and I said, let's use that same pen. I don't know, is anybody superstitious? Ron, are you superstitious? Let's use that same pen. Okay.
We've been going through our theory of the case for a couple of weeks here regarding the U.S., Russia, Ukraine, all the rest of it. And I wanted to get you on today to do a deep dive on all of this. We call it Trump's geopolitical grand strategy. And the Trump's geopolitical grand strategy is something that I don't think a lot of people get, because they want to look at this in terms of just Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine, Russia. Russia started the war in 2022, so Russia has to be punished. How dare you talk to him? How dare you do this? They can't actually see the bigger picture and look at the chess pieces on the board. So, Benz, I was hoping today that we could sort of do a deep dive on all of this, because people don't understand the factional warfare that's going on now at the elite level and what President Trump is doing. And by the way, the Department of Education push, well, that is cutting off the supply lines to the liberal elites of the United States. That's cutting off their resources and their access to an unlimited supply of capital and an unlimited supply of money towards the enemies of the republic. So it's very obvious to me what he's doing, but I think we need to lay it out for people. What do you say?
I say that sounds fantastic. One quick thing on the Department of Education. It's not just the elites in the U.S. educational sphere. I was reading the JFK files last night, and there's a passage where the CIA admits that they had been funding a group called the World Confederation of Organizations of the Teaching Profession, and that they had also been funding the National Education Association. And those are respectively some of the largest teachers unions in the United States. They're both alive and well today, and they both have hundreds and hundreds of international branches in foreign countries who receive money through the Department of Education's International Affairs branch. Just as the AFL-CIO's international unions get money through the Department of Labor's International Affairs branch. And I was going on their contemporary website, and I noticed that the international branches were all complaining. They have a democracy section in their website, these historically CIA-funded teachers union groups. And the international branches were all complaining about Trump trying to shut down the U.S. Department of Education. And I think that, this is what's happening also in Ukraine. Why did Randy Weingarten, since we're going to be talking about Ukraine so much, why did Randy Weingarten spend, the head of the American Federation of Teachers, spend so many trips abroad in Ukraine? Put her bio as a Ukraine flag. And then you look, and lo and behold, the group that was CIA funded during the 1960s, the World Confederation of Organizations of the Teachers Profession, changed its name after the CIA funding event happened. It's now called Education International, and it's very active in Ukraine. In fact, they just gave their sort of Man of the Year award to one of the teachers in Ukraine.
It's amazing, right? People don't understand that cutting the DOE is actually about cutting the free flow of resources to not just the elite here in the United States, the liberal elite, but also the global Atlanticist elite that exists throughout Europe, and particularly in Western Europe, that is now trying to dominate Eastern Europe. Benz, does President Trump, he clearly understands this strategy. He clearly understands what he's doing here in terms of network disruption. Do you think that's the reason that he doesn't quite sit there and walk people through it the way that it is? Or is it just that he's operating so quickly that he doesn't want to waste time?
I think he's operating so quickly that he doesn't want to waste time. But the fact is this sort of sneaky tentacles of the blob in so many of the different agencies really has to have a full review, because we were just talking about the role of the teachers unions. The American Federation of Teachers, which is Randy Weingarten's outfit, has been partnered with NewsGuard and has been censoring conservative news in the schools. They participate in street protests to shut down cities. They try to hamper the administration from every angle. And the Department of Education is on the teachers front, but there's also the Department of Labor on the union front. And before I came on, I heard you talking about the Tesla takedown activity, which is being organized at the union level in significant degree. Unions play a huge role in the rent-to-riot affairs of the Central Intelligence Agency. For example, the JFK files are absolutely littered with AFL-CIO references. That the AFL-CIO is the single largest confederation of unions in the entire United States, and it has been CIA penetrated for 60 years. And then it's got these international affairs branches, which were behind the push to oust Bolsonaro in Brazil and to back Lula. AFL-CIO effectively did a jailbreak of Lula and were one of the closest partners of the CUT union in Brazil, which is the main union backing Lula that Lula basically was birthed from. And time again, you see these street protests. The AFL-CIO, we now know because of the Molly Ball article after the 2020 election, had a signed agreement with the Chamber of Commerce to unleash itself to shut down DC if Trump had won the Electoral College in 2020. And yet the AFL-CIO's spindle branches get tens of millions of dollars every year from the Department of Labor's International Affairs branch. And what we see is beyond U.S. aid, which unfortunately now the fight is still ongoing because a federal court has reinstated U.S. aid just this week. And then beyond that, just yesterday, a federal judge has now prohibited the Trump administration's pick to be the technical administrator at USAID because he previously worked at DOGE. They wanted to move a DOGE person to effectively be the technical head of USAID. And the federal judge said, I won't let you do that. So, but beyond just USAID, virtually every federal government agency branch has an international affairs bureau, which works with the State Department, which works with USAID, which works with the intelligence services. And it is the international affairs branches that will snake you every single time. And every government agency's international affairs branch needs an independent audit right now.